On a quiet September night, in a town where nothing bad ever seemed to happen, 3 police officers were killed in an ambush that would shock the entire country. What followed was one of the largest manhunts in state history, a tense, terrifying, violent standoff that turned a sleepy town into a battlefield. This is the story of the small-town police ambush that shook America. Before the bullets flew, this was just another quiet American town. Population, under 2,000. 2 stoplights. A single diner where everyone knew your name. And on the edge of town, a small cabin set back in the woods. That cabin belonged to Ethan Cole. Who was Ethan Cole? Ethan wasn't always a threat. He had served in the Army as a mechanic. Deployed overseas twice. Friends said he came back different. He was quieter, angrier. He spent hours tinkering with rifles, setting up cameras around his property. He stopped coming into town. Locals whispered about him. Some thought he was just a loner. Others were afraid. Said he'd talk about the government coming for him, and hinted he'd be ready if they ever did. It started with a call to dispatch. 911, what's your emergency? I heard gunshots up near the Ridge Road. Sounded like a rifle. A lot of shots. 2 patrol cars responded. Officer James McCarthy was first on the scene. He drove slowly up the narrow gravel road, headlights cutting through the dark. And then it happened. Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots in quick succession. The first bullet shattered the windshield. The second struck the dashboard. The third hit Officer McCarthy before he could even unholster his weapon. Over the radio, a panicked voice. Officer down. Shots fired. Shots fired. Within minutes, backup arrived. But by then, Ethan had melted back into the tree line, ready for his next move. When 2 more officers tried to reach McCarthy's vehicle, Ethan opened fire again, this time from a different position. He had been planning this. He had dug shallow foxholes around his property. He knew exactly where police would take cover. In the chaos, Officer Dale Hensley was struck and killed. Another officer was wounded. Dispatch scrambled to call in more units. The small-town police force was outgunned. State police were mobilized. But Ethan wasn't retreating. He was hunting. By midnight, the entire county was under lockdown. Residents were told to stay inside, lock their doors, and keep lights off. Helicopters circled overhead. Schools would be closed the next day. Armed officers patrolled the town, guarding intersections. Parents kept children away from windows. The fear was palpable. News crews arrived by morning. Soon, the story was everywhere. 3 officers dead in small-town ambush, gunmen on the loose. Who was this man capable of such violence? Investigators began piecing together Ethan's life. Military records. His online posts, filled with anger toward law enforcement. Reports from neighbors about strange behavior, building barricades, setting up floodlights, firing weapons late into the night. Ethan believed he was at war. He believed police were coming to take his freedom. And in his mind, this was a preemptive strike. The manhunt became a massive operation. 400 officers from multiple agencies. 9 units scouring the woods. Drones, helicopters, and armored vehicles. But Ethan was trained, disciplined, and dangerous. He used the woods to his advantage, doubling back on trails, covering his tracks, even using creek beds to mask his scent. At one point, officers were less than 50 yards away, but he slipped through the trees. Each time police thought they had him cornered, Ethan disappeared again. Days passed. The community grew more fearful and more angry. On the 5th night, a state trooper spotted movement near an abandoned hunting shack. This time, police surrounded the building. Negotiators tried to make contact. Ethan, it's over. Come out with your hands up. Silence. Then, a single shot fired from inside the shack. The standoff lasted for hours. Spotlights lit up the night sky. Reporters camped out on the road, waiting. Just before dawn, gunfire erupted. The exchange lasted less than 5 minutes. When it was over, Ethan was dead. Inside, police found dozens of loaded magazines, explosives, maps, and notes. Proof he had been planning even more attacks. The funerals of the fallen officers drew thousands. Flags lined the streets. The governor attended. The entire town turned out to pay respects. The case sparked national debates. How could one man cause so much damage? What more could be done to protect officers? Could this tragedy have been prevented? Even years later, the story is still told in that town. A memorial stands at the edge of the road where the first shots rang out, a reminder of the night that changed everything. The ambush of those officers was more than just a crime. It was an attack on an entire community. The quiet woods that once felt safe are now remembered as the place where peace was shattered. And for the families of the officers who never came home, that night will never be forgotten.